It's just now come out that the Conservative Party of Canada has voted to expel Derek Sloan from the caucus. And it reads, Erin O'Toole pushed for ouster after learning Sloan received contributions from white nationalist Paul Fromm. Now, Paul Fromm is someone who speaks just like people like Ronnie Cameron speak. That foolishness about, ethnic nationalism and, whites are the bearer of this country and all that crap. People like Paul Fromm that stuff is nonsense. It's stupid. It's retarded. I don't want to hear it. People like that can go to hell. But nevertheless, let's continue reading and let's see how Sloan reacted to that donation. Because it's come out now that Sloan actually attempted to refund Fromm because he didn't want to accept his money. And nevertheless, the Conservative Caucus, with their cowardly selves, and Erin O'Toole still decided they're going to get rid of him. Just to appease the media, appease Justin Attacky at Tarface Swiftfoot Mac Daddy Trudeau, who's just now come out, the son of Satan, Justin Attacky and Mac Daddy Trudeau, come out and said he's proud of Erin O'Toole for getting rid of Sloan. So let's continue. Conservative leader Erin O'Toole initiated the ouster earlier this week after it emerged that Paul Fromm, whose ties to white supremacist and neo-Nazi causes have long been documented, had contributed $131 to Sloan's leadership campaign. Now, let's just keep in mind that just because the media says that he has ties to white supremacists and neo-Nazis doesn't mean that those people are neo-Nazis. I mean, the mainstream media calls me a neo-Nazi. I am not a neo-Nazi. I would never be a neo-Nazi. I have nothing to do with neo-Nazis. I wish that we had a law which said I could get permission to kill neo-Nazis. I mean, any neo-Nazi that comes to me, I'm ready to tear their neck off. I hate neo-Nazis. I hate Nazis. I hate totalitarianism. I hate racists. I think racists should be given the same treatment that the Nazis gave the Jews. They should be put in gas chambers. I hate racists, but they still would call me a neo-Nazi. They'd call Kevin J. Johnston a white nationalist and a neo-Nazi. They call Faye Goldie a white nationalist. Many of these guys have stated that, I mean, if you believe that whiteness is under attack, which there is a legitimate argument that it is, and if you believe that, the New World Order wants to get rid of whiteness, not necessarily that you think whiteness is superior, but that there is an assault on whiteness, if you believe that, they think you're a neo-Nazi. But I do believe that what I've heard from Paul Fromm is that he is not somebody that I would ever listen to. That type of ethnic nationalist nonsense that comes out of the likes of Fromm and Ronnie Cameron, those people can burn in hell. But anyway, Sloan fought against the vote, saying he was unaware of the source of the donation because Fromm used his full name, Frederick P. Fromm. Conservatives voted by secret ballot today, with the majority of MPs voting to remove him from the benches. In a statement issued this afternoon, O'Toole called the donation a last straw. The Conservative Caucus voted to remove Sloan not because of one specific event, but because of a pattern of destructive behavior. You see, that shouldn't be allowed. If you have a problem with something that he did before, deal with it then. Deal with it then. Because now they know that Sloan tried to give back from his money, saying, I don't want your money, go take your money and jump off a cliff with it. That's what Sloan tried to do. But because now they lost that argument, so now they want to turn and say, oh, well, it's not just this, it's a bunch of other behaviors. If you let him get away with that behavior before, that means it's done. It's settled. It's finished. If I tell an employee who did something wrong, don't do it again, and then I'm not going to fire him for that. I'm not going to fire him for that. If I do decide to fire him, it's going to be because of something else. It has nothing to do with what happened in the past. And if it does, then I'm going to say that the first time. But no, you said we're getting rid of Sloan because of this donation, and then now you want to turn around and say, oh no, it's also because of other stuff. News of Fromm's contribution was first reported by Press Progress, a left-leaning website funded by the Broadbent Institute. So, and then it just goes on to say that, look, Sloan tried to give back the donation once he figured out that this Paul Fromm was the person who gave it to him. So this is all cowardice. Basically, Erin O'Toole is just another coward leading the Conservative Party of Canada. And because normally, I've always known that many of the MPs in the Conservative Caucus are cowards. They're pussies. They have no spine. They're jellyfish. And you sort of just kind of put up with it a little bit until they go too far. You kind of just put up with it. And then they do something that's really out of bounds. And then you say, like Patrick Brown, when he said, carbon tax, and we said, no, you can't. No, I'm not subscribing to any carbon tax. I knew you were weak before, but I'm not. Those days are over, because we are living in such a dangerous time right now. Look at how Doug Ford has been behaving. I am not. I'm going to tell you something. I am not going to suffer these conservative pussies again. And I'm not going to be fooled by these conservatives again. I was fooled by them once, and I'm not going to be fooled by them again. I will not be. And let me repeat, I will not be supporting or voting for the Conservative Party of Canada next federal election. I just won't do it. You can say, oh, that's too hasty, that's too whatever. I don't give a damn what you have to say. What I hope for is a conservative minority, which is propped up by a populist, grassroots, anti-New World Order, anti-establishment, anti-China virus New World Order party, small party, which is actually going to take itself seriously. If you are one of those parties which is only going to run 4 candidates in 4 ridings, I'm not going to support you because you're not serious. You're a joke. Now, the PPC, I've had issues with the PPC. But as far as I know, Maxime Bernier has been staunchly against these draconian lockdowns. As far as I know, he is against mandatory masks and mandatory lockdowns. He's against businesses being forced to shut down by the state. So, despite the fact that I don't appreciate Maxime Bernier's economic globalist stances, wanting to get rid of the protections for our dairy farmers and allow foreign dairy farmers to swamp our markets, because I do believe farming is one of the industries that needs to be protected. I don't care what you have to say. And I am a free trader, but I am also a protectionist as well. And there's nothing wrong with being a protectionist. I'm not an isolationist, but I do believe in protecting our economy first. Nevertheless, I will support or vote for the PPC if they run candidates in every single riding across the country, or enough ridings to get a majority. Now, I know they're not going to win, but what I'm hoping for is a repeat of the election of 1979 in Canada, when Joe Clark won a minority and he had to rely on the Social Credit Party, which is no longer in existence anymore, which I believe is one of the greatest political parties that Canada ever had. The Social Credit Party. Every single politician, every single premier across Canada, which was a premier under the Social Credit Party, was a great premier. William Aberhart, W.A.C. Bennett. During the social credit period, British Columbia was an amazing province. Alberta was an amazing... The reason why Alberta is such a powerhouse today is because of people like Aberhart and Ernest Manning, who is the father of Preston Manning. Social credit revolutionary leaders who took Alberta from the dustbin to a powerhouse. So that's social credit. That's social credit. But I want a repeat of the 1979 election. And of course, we remember Joe Clark messed it up. He was arrogant with the social credit, and he ended up losing. And he became one of the shortest prime ministers in history. So I think that's what we need. The Conservative Party of Canada is a cowardly party. And I'm not going to take any chances with them running this federal government, being such the cowards that they are. I'm not going to suffer them federally. I'm not going to be fooled by them federally. I was fooled with Doug Ford. Okay? I was fooled with Doug Ford. And I'll tell you this, I am much, much more cautious around these conservative politicians. Okay? And to be honest with you, I'm starting to lose respect for the Conservative Party of Canada. I'm an independent, so I have no loyalties to the Conservatives or the Liberals. I figured that the Conservatives would be the ones most likely to uphold freedom and to be the ones most likely to preserve our freedoms, preserve our economy, to preserve our integrity and our standing in the world, would be the one most likely to fight off the New World Order. But for Erin O'Toole to just immediately get rid of Derek Sloan over a donation he didn't know where it came from, and tried his best to give it back from when he knew this is him, that just makes me believe that Erin O'Toole is going to be just like these other conservative premiers, Ford, Pallister. Kenney is really not too bad. I think Kenney is... I heard that he wants to end the lockdowns in Alberta, and Alberta is a tough province. Kenney knows that if he acts like how Doug Ford is acting, Albertans will throw him out quickly. They will throw him out. And they're not afraid of splitting voting or anything like that, because there's so many conservative voters in Alberta that it's quite possible for Kenney to get a minority, which he has to rely on a party like the Wild Rose or one of those other parties. So Kenney, he better be careful. I'm not going to be voting for the Conservatives, and I will vote for the PPC, only because the PPC is the one party which not only is the most nationalistic. I have my issues with them on the dairy thing. I don't agree with it, but, nothing is perfect. But they're the most nationalistic. They're the most populist. They're the most Canada first. They're the most in terms of keeping our freedoms and preserving our economy, making our economy grow. They're the party most likely to secure our borders. But they're also the party which is running candidates in all of the ridings of Canada. I'm not going to waste my time with a party which only has 1 or 2 or 4 or 8 or 12 candidates running scattered about the country like that. That's just a waste of time. And some of these parties are really good. I love the NCA, but they don't run parties in all of the ridings or make an effort to. So I'm serious about this. We are in a war right now. We are actually in a war right now. And I know, they're probably going to rig the elections, but here's the thing. And you guys are going to say, oh, well, if they're going to rig the elections, I'm not going to vote. Look, yeah, they are going to try to rig the elections, but I'm still going to vote because I don't want the person who is rigging the elections to do it easily. If your job is to rig elections, I want to make you regret the day you were born. I want your job to be hell. I want you to suffer doing that job. I want you to be swamped and overwhelmed with so many votes that it is hell and it's hard work to have to rig that. You're going through the box or you're going through the computer and you see all these votes. Oh, I gotta throw away all these votes. I'm just wasting. Oh, look at my job. Just you have to keep going and go. I don't want you to open up a box and then you only have maybe a couple of votes that you have to throw away. That's too easy. You want to rig the election? Fine, rig the election, but it's not going to be rigged easily. You're going to have a tough time doing it. Your hands are going to be covered in calluses by the time you're done rigging that election. Your hands will bleed. Your hands will be infected. Your muscles will be weak. You will work your fingers to the bone. Worse than a Chinese laborer working with no labor laws. I want you to suffer. Stay up all day and all night having to rig that election. I want you to have the worst job in the world rigging that election. A job worse than cleaning up dog doo-doo from the parks. A job worse than cracking rocks in jail. I want you to suffer. That's why I'm going to continue to vote. Yeah, it's going to be rigged, and you should continue to vote too. Otherwise, why are you going to make these vote riggers, why do you want to make their jobs easy? Make it tough. Make it tough. Make their job hell. They have to stay up for weeks rigging that election, and eventually they may give up. You know, well, because you know how workers are, especially Canadian workers. Oh, I want more benefits. I need a break. I need a lunch break. This is too hard. You talking to me bad. You talking to me harsh, boss man. I'm going to quit. I'm going to walk out on the job. I'm going to argue with you. Exactly. So the more of you vote, the tougher it is for them to rig. And eventually, and if all of you vote, it's almost impossible to rig. Because look, these guys aren't magicians. The New World Order is still comprised of men. These aren't magicians. These aren't people with wizards. These aren't fairy godmothers with wands who can just say, the vote is rigged with a stroke of a wand. They have to have people to rig the election, who have to sign up for rigging the election. And of course, there's labor laws and all this sort of stuff. These are people these are men, you know. And of course, they have to work on keeping the rigging as secret as possible. And, you know, the more of you who vote, the harder it is to rig. I mean, 2020 election. I have a sneaking suspicion that most Trump supporters thought that Trump was going to win because he was invincible and didn't bother to vote. So it was easy for them to rig. Even though it was still hard because, you know, they still had to, you know, people caught on to it. It still was easy enough. So if more of you do it, the tougher it is. I'm not going to make these people's jobs easy. I want to make their jobs hard. I want to show you that working for the New World Order is going to be the worst decision you ever made. So I'll vote for the PPC. And I'm going to hope that Erin O'Toole gets a minority. I definitely don't want Justin Tackett, Tarface, Swift, and Magdalene Trudeau to win. I don't want Jagmeet Singh to win because he's just a puppet of the New World. He's a puppet of Justin Tackett, Magdalene Trudeau. Can you imagine? I could never vote for the NDP, even if I was a leftist. A strong, hardcore leftist. I couldn't support Jagmeet after he caved in to Trudeau when he had an opportunity to call an early election and then he caved in. What a pathetic. Even the Greens, they're all in on the New World Order, so I can't support them. I won't. But I want the next Canadian election to be the same as 1979, where O'Toole gets a minority and his fate as a prime minister relies on a few PPC MPs who hold the balance of power. That's what I'm supporting. I don't have faith in Erin O'Toole to run the country by himself with a majority. I believe he's weak. I believe he's going to pull a Doug Ford on us. What he did to Derek Sloan was disgraceful. Derek Sloan did nothing wrong. Erin Sloan tried to give the money back. Paul Fromm, with his cowardly self, forged his name, or he hid his identity so that Derek wouldn't suspect anything. Derek found out, tried to give the money back, and Erin is still firing him. And then Justin Attackhead and Matt Daddy Trudeau said, oh, I am so glad that Erin did this. Once Justin Attackhead and Matt Daddy Trudeau says anything good to you, or good about you, you've lost my support. I can't support anybody who the son of Satan likes. If Justin Trudeau were to come out and say he liked me, I don't know, I'd probably have to jump off a bridge or something. I mean, that is basically the devil saying he likes you. And if the devil likes you, then you must be doing something which serves the kingdom of hell. Because Trudeau is the son of Satan. Now, so that's just it. Anyway, I'm not going to flick myself on you any longer. If you are watching this on YouTube, subscribe to me on Bitchute. I'm not going to be on YouTube much longer. Get a Bitchute and subscribe to me on Bitchute. This is the Arana Nation.